What's up, everybody? This is Sean from Morning Lifter. Appreciate you dropping in. Today I've got a special video for you. I'm going to walk you through my home gym, something that many of you have asked throughout the time that I have been on social media or on YouTube. I've accumulated just about as much equipment as I possibly can in the space that I have. So I don't have much more room to go. So I figured it was a good time to kind of show you all the different pieces that I've picked up over the last few years. And if you've got questions, feel free to drop a comment. So, not going to take up any more time. Let's go take a look, see what I have. Alright, so this is the view from the back end of the basement. And kind of as you walk in, there's a small little space here where you can kind of walk, but I'll go from left to right here. The first piece of equipment that you see here is my functional trainer. Now this is actually a Hoist. This is the Hoist MI6, and this was actually one of the first pieces of equipment that I picked up. One of the issues that I ended up encountering was, over time, I ended up maxing out the weight stacks. And so this was one of the pieces of equipment that I actually started to develop the stacked weight pin on. You can see that I've got the stacks that go up to 150 pounds on each side, and I ended up taking off the front cover for it so that I could fit the stacked weight pin on, which has been such a great addition to all of the machines that I have. But one of the things that I really like about the MI6 is its ability to rotate. It's got a 360-degree rotation, and so it has been a really great piece. If you followed me for any time, you know I've been doing leg curls on it. That's one of my favorite things to do on it right now. But it's just really, really versatile, and taking off the cover has actually been even better. So it's something that you may not need to do, but this is kind of where things really got started for me, and it is just something that I've really enjoyed. As we're moving forward here, this is the latest piece that I just picked up, and I absolutely love this. So this is the MaxiCam 300-pound stack hack squat, and it has two different foot placements. It's got the top and the bottom. One thing that is really, really cool that I think, and you can see the 300-pound stack. I got this from a physical therapy facility, and it's practically brand new. Trying to get it in the house through the basement was quite the challenge, but nonetheless, it is a great piece. One that wasn't used a whole lot. Most of the scratches that you see are really from me moving it, but the padding, there's no rip, no nothing on it. It's just in really great shape overall. And I got this for a steal too, so if you follow Facebook Marketplace, it might take a month or two, but you can find really good pieces for an eighth of the price, a third of the price. But this is something that I've really enjoyed and has really helped with my own leg day. It's something that I've been really kind of wanting for a while, and the opportunity broke, so I took it. Moving on over here, this is one of my favorite chest press machines. This is the Paramount rotary chest press, and one thing that I really like about this is the ability for it to act a lot like dumbbell movements, but it's got rotating handles like so, and it has different placements. So what you can do is you can pop this pin here based on your own height. You can move it around and adjust as need be. The other thing too that's really great is the independent arm action. One of the things that I really liked about this when I first got it. So the independent arm action, it really gives you a great outer pec target. Also, it has built-in 5-pound, 10-pound adder weights to it. I use it sometimes, or what I'll do too is I'll stick in my stacked weight pin. Sometimes that's just easier to do because it keeps everything in line, as opposed to where if I just click the 5, now the weight's tilted on one side. So a lot of times if I'm going to add an extra 5 pounds, I'm just going to use the stacked weight pin instead. If I go to 10, a lot of times I'll just use this, because then both lines will actually, both adder weights will increase, so and go up. But this has been a great piece. Again, this one was pretty difficult to move, but it's something that I've really enjoyed. Continuing on down, this is the Star Trek shoulder press. I had to go to Reading, Pennsylvania for that. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Northeast Ohio. This was a 13-hour round trip, so pretty much the entire length of Pennsylvania. Pretty long trip, but it was worth it. I had some people that I reached out to on social media who recommended this piece, and I gotta say, this is a great piece for a couple of reasons. Number one, the stack. You can see it goes up to 300 pounds. It's just phenomenal. It's belt driven, so I have a combination of belt driven and cable driven. The only problem with this machine was it needed a new belt, and that was pretty easy to do. Just went online and ordered a replacement. But the padding, really good shape. One of the main issues I would say with this is the length. It's about 5 feet, maybe a little bit longer. So with a shoulder machine like this, you lose some space because of the angle. But I had the room, but I also felt that it was one of the better machines to get for a couple of reasons. Number one is I've got 2 different handles. So I can go outer grip or I can go standard grip. Not necessarily a neutral grip. And that's what I liked about this, was it had the variable diagonal grip, I guess you could say. But the other thing too was I could go forward facing or reverse facing. And so one of the things I really like to do with this right now is do the reverse face standard shoulder press. So that's something that I've really enjoyed doing, and it's just been a really beneficial piece overall, and it's very, very smooth. Continuing over here, this is the door where I move all the machine in and out, but I've got my extra weight tree right here. I have behind that all of my extra bars. So this is the Iron Skull power bar that I sell through Bare Steel Equipment. It's a great bar. Here is the Easy Curl bar, the Skull Crusher bar, another great piece, black oxide, standard curl bar, really, really good. So I've got some standard things there, just some extra bars. In case you're unsure of what this is, these are the plate-loaded extensions that I sell as well through Bare Steel Equipment. You can see right there. And what these do is, if you have plate-loaded posts, such as my lever arms here, what they do is they give you extra length. And so this is 12 inches in length, and so the inserted piece is 6 inches, and then you have 6 inches of actual loadable weight. So the way it looks, when you load it, you're taking up that much room. So it's a nice way to add extra weight if you've maxed out on your plate-loaded equipment as well. Moving over here, I have my trusty Power Block dumbbells. Now this is one of the original pieces of equipment that I had when I first started my home gym. They don't make these anymore, but these are the U125s. Came with the adder weights. I ended up buying the stand later on, but I purchased these brand new. Here are the extra handles. You can see right here they go to 125. Now, one thing that I picked up recently are the kettlebell handles. And I wrote a review on this on my website, but these have been awesome too. And it's a great addition to the U series. Eventually I'd like to get the commercial series because they go up to 175. But for now, and even still, these have been a really good addition. Saves you so much space. I've never been somebody to load up the whole side of the wall with dumbbells. I just never found it necessary. So it's something that I don't do. This is my leverage bar for belt squats. I built that. I just used the extra pull-up bar that came with the Power Rack, and then just built the bases there on the side. So that's pretty simple. Moving on over, dip bar. I've got my wrist wraps and my weight belt here. This is the foundation of really the whole gym. Starting off with the platform. So I built the platform by myself. I went and I got the 4x8 plywood. I had to get 2 sheets of it. And this is a 12x8 platform. And I went to Tractor Supply and got the stall mats. The logo I had done custom made, and I just got regular spray paint and spray painted it after I got the stencil work. You can go to the link. I'll have a link in there on how I built this, but it's pretty simple to do, and it's held up really, really well. And once I had that, it really, I think, helped. But the Power Rack is Titan Fitness X3 flat foot. So it doesn't get bolted down, but it does help with stability. One thing that I have liked about that. The rack itself has held up really well. The lever arms are one of my favorite attachments to the rack. Something that if you followed me for a while, you've seen, and I've made really valuable use of those lever arms. So it's something that I would encourage anybody with a Power Rack to get, because the things that you can do with them are almost limitless. I upgraded to the safety straps. I have just your basic J-hooks, or excuse me, J-cups. Not something that I really got crazy with. Those have been pretty standard. I have lots of chains, series of chains. These are the zinc plated chains that I sell through Bare Steel as well, and these are USA made. So these are imports here. These were the original Bare Steel that I started with. So this is the new upgraded zinc plated version. These are the old Bare Steel, and these 2 are imports here. But the rack itself, like I said, has held up pretty well. The one thing that I mentioned in the review that I did on this on my website is the fact that this thing was a real bear to put together. There was some warping of the steel, not to mention, like if you look down here, you can see the extension doesn't match up with the actual base, which was something that was incredibly annoying and made it really, really difficult to actually connect together. So that was something that I found to be pretty frustrating. Aside from that, not really any issues. I have just a standard bench here. Again, that's from Titan, but I'm going to need to upgrade eventually. What I also want to show you here, this is how I have taken my Lat Tower. This is from Titan. I took the Lat Tower and I ended up fabricating it, and I got it converted into a low pulley system only. So you can see how it just goes straight up there, and I've zip tied it because I don't use the top anymore. But what I ended up doing was, if you know on these, this post here, this extends way out. And so I measured out, I believe that's a foot here. And I marked it off, I had it cut, and then I took the bracket from the original piece, that was cut off, and then had that welded on to this post here, and then I was able to reconnect the foot plate. These back feet were longer than what they are now. I had those reduced. I believe I've got them, they're 2 feet. I think it's 2 feet across. So I had that reduced so that it could fit in the rack, and then I reduced the posts as well. So that, again, I could get everything to fit and it looked correct. So when I use it, it's actually really convenient to have now. I bolted it down, so you can see right there. I bolted it down, so I drilled the holes, bolted it down, secured it from the bottom, secured it from the top, and now it works really, really well. And it's completely centered within the rack. So it's something that I have really enjoyed using, especially for back days. So that is how the power rack is set up. Moving over here, here is my do-it-yourself chalk stand, which has worked really well. Still got some chalk in there. I've talked about hitch pins in the past, so there is my enormous lot of hitch pins. I have the Iron Chest Master, something that I think has been really good. I enjoy using that. I've also got the Gray Fit Strongman sandbag. Now I've got leader chains. Again, that's something that I got through Bare Steel Equipment. So I've got my leader chains, some other straps. I got my biking press bar. This is my belt for my belt squat. So, and just some blocks, things like that, things of that nature. So, some basic stuff. Then on the wall, this is my DIY specialty barbell rack. Again, there was an article that I posted on how I did this, and I set it up, and you can see it's pretty basic. It's just a couple 2x4s, and I took deck style lag bolts, and I bolted those in to the wall to make sure that everything was sturdy. And so I've got my trap bar, my trusty Mars bar, which I love, and then I have a Titan Fitness safety squat bar and the camber bar, and then I just have my deadlift jack off to the side here as well. So everything fits really, really nicely. It's such a great fit on the wall. If I really wanted to dress it up, I could paint it black, but I don't really care about that. It serves its function perfectly the way I need to, so I just leave it at that. Moving on over. This is a great piece I really like. This is the Cybex Lat Pulldown. This was one of the reasons why I opted to modify my Titan Lat Tower as well. But this is, these are one of the old school machines, I guess you could say, from the mid 2000s. If you were in the gym in the mid to late 2000s, you probably saw these Cybex lines everywhere. And you can get these at pretty good deals now, and they're really, for the most part, they're in really good working order. This one is belt driven. The only thing that didn't come with it is I'm missing the pop pin for that. Other than that, it works great. It's got a 300-pound stack. I've got my stack weight pin with it. And one of the things that I like about this one is it's a smaller footprint. You can see it really doesn't take up much room compared to some of the other machines. It's about, I think, 3 feet in width. But one of the other great things about this too, it's got divergent arms. Now, if you come over here, you'll see this is my matrix divergent lat pull down. So you say, well, you've got 2 lat pull downs, well, what's the difference? Okay, so good question. So each machine has a little bit of an advantage. Now, I'm a big fan of lat pull downs, so that's why I ended up getting 2. But each machine serves a benefit. So the difference between this is this has independent arm action, something that I really liked about it. And it diverges automatically. So as you go down, you get wider. So that's one of the positives. One of the negatives is it's only got one handle grip. So you can go pronate or supinate. Okay? You come over here, again, advantages and disadvantages. For this, you can go pronate, supinate, neutral grip. But the difference is this only goes dual arm action. So if I were to just do this quickly here, right, when you pull this down, it's both arms together. So it's not single arm action. So there's advantages to every type of machine. Now, if you've got the ability and you've got the space and you want to get multiple machines, then by all means do that. If you don't, you got to really pick and choose about which ones you want. Moving on, I have my Cybex dual axis row and rear delt. One of my favorite machines. I actually picked this up from ABC Fitness in Raleigh, North Carolina. I bought it online and had it shipped here. They did a great job with it. Really enjoyed this piece. It's one of my favorites. So what's really cool about this is it gives you the option. Again, I'll just switch my pen here. It gives you the option so you can go neutral grip, or you can go supinate, or excuse me, pronate or supinate, but you can also go divergent. So these handles diverge out. So if you're going to do rear delts, you can do that with your supinated grip, and then you can diverge out. But one of the great things too, you can see it's a small footprint. You know, this thing's only about 2 feet wide. Both of these machines are only about 2 feet in width, and their length is not real long either. So these go hand in hand almost perfectly together. It makes a nice little circuit. Going on down the line here, I have my leg extension. So one of the things that I liked about this is it's almost identical to the vintage old school Nautilus machines. Now it's center driven. That's one of the things I really liked about it. It's not off to the side. So although it's not an authentic Nautilus, it sure as heck performs like one. The ankle pads are a little beat up, but that's nothing that's too big. But it is something that I really enjoy using. It was a great piece I picked out from a friend in Pennsylvania, so it's served me very, very well. If I can't fit a leg curl, what I may end up doing is replacing this at some point in time with a dual action leg curl leg extension combo. But for now, this serves a purpose and does a great job. On to the MI Smith. So this was the next piece of equipment that I picked up after the MI6, and has been a great addition. Something that I've really enjoyed using, simply because I've got shoulder issues, and I like using it for shoulder press. I like using it for a lot of chest press. I'll use it for some other things too, but I use it primarily for that, and it's been a really great addition. The fitness gear bench I still have. That's one of the original pieces of equipment. But one of the things I like about this Smith machine is that while it's on guide rods, right? I talked about this in my review too. There's a guide rod in the middle as well. So it really acts a lot like a free weight. And you can move it back and forth like this, and up and down. So, but what I like the fact that it keeps your arms stay stable. So it is something that I've liked. It has helped me. Most people, you probably don't need a Smith machine. So it's just something that, again, you got to find out what's best for your training. Over here, I have my vintage Nautilus rowing, and it's just been something that I've used a whole lot. So it's such an old school machine. You got the blue with the classic blue with the black padding, and it's the old school. It's the chain driven. It's not cable and it's not belt. It's old school chain. So one of the things I liked about this. Right next to it, I've got the vintage Nautilus as well, the double shoulder, and this is one of my favorites. This is what I would say, these two machines really what got me started thinking about adding some more cable machines to my training, because I've always felt, especially training alone, you can go to failure a lot easier on machines because you know you're not going to get yourself hurt. And so, if you really want to grow and get stronger, start pushing yourself to failure more, well, I could really do that on these, and I felt comfortable doing that. So it was something that I really enjoy doing. And so it is like it's an old school piece of equipment, something that I really enjoy using. But I've been able to tuck these two pieces of equipment right here in the back, and it's been really good to have. So moving over to the very last piece of equipment. Right here is my Body Masters Pullover, and I love this thing. I love the Pullover. It's such a great piece of equipment. This has a stack that goes to 180, and I haven't gotten all the way there yet because I continue to train for reps on this, but it is something that has been really great to have. I picked this up, I found this thing locally, which is a small rip. This also came from a physical therapy facility, so it's something that had light use to it. Belt driven as well, but just a great overall piece of equipment. So that's all of the equipment that I have. I have a few things, just odds and ends stuck under the stairs, but overall, this is everything here. And I would say, like, if you're planning on, you know, how do you get equipment, I would say the first thing that you need to do is think about what it is that you want and see. Oh, I almost forgot. There are. I had a couple pieces of equipment tucked away, so I've got my moving blankets here. But this is the linebacker attachment from Titan, and then I have the leg press attachment there as well. But overall, if you're looking to add equipment to your home gym, then first thing that you would have to do, especially if you're going to add cable machines, you got to figure out what your space is. I've been pretty lucky here. I've been able to take over pretty much half the basement. But find out what your space is and measure. Measure your space to figure out if it'll actually fit, and then find a price point and negotiate. Negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Because people are out there who are willing to let go of equipment that they don't want or they don't need, they just want it out of the house. And you can find some really good steals sometimes when you do that. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try to get some more of these videos out, especially trying to start isolating some of these different pieces of equipment and why I like them, maybe a little bit more individually. So, you know, keep a lookout for that. So I appreciate it. Don't forget to share this out, and I appreciate the time. Thanks a lot.